I know that I'm different, but fuck it, I know that I'm gifted. Big FB, I don't even have feelings. Y'all fake, y'all bitch no different. Like she a freak, I'ma beat up a box. Been through it, you know that I rock. If I pull up heavy, he bringing a knock. Oh bro, you know how to feel when I get in.
What's up, YouTuber? This is your boys KWZ, Foolish Boys. Outside! Yeah, you know what it is. We here at Isivivana right now. Talk to them, man.
She want me, bro. She want me, bro. Okay, we're here for book launch of Emile. I don't know his name, but his name is Emile. He's from colored people, Mitchell's Place, but now he stays overseas, you know what I'm saying?
He's a best dancer from South Africa. Now he's like abroad right now, shit. So yeah, it's an honor to Zombona, so we can learn more. Nani Denike, Sonke, culture family, Nani, Siamge Gasmuni now.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing. So, Saya Paso Bonabandu, this was following Shamas, sleep on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sit down. Space right here, bro. Nice. Bye. It's an honor to see you, sir. It's an honor to see you.
Back home, at my house. Indigenous Gay actually raps about Nelson Mandela. So I said, what is he saying about Nelson Mandela? He said, Nelson, in his rap, he says he served more, he served 28 years in the island. And I was like, okay, I'd love to listen to that. When I went to that song of Game was the wrong one. And we had a lot of time to break down just to talk about the years that Nelson Mandela served in prison. So sometimes if you're not informed, you're not going to understand what the rappers are saying. So that's why it's so easy right now. A lot of these rappers are taking chances in Xhosa, in Afrikaans, in English, all these languages, because there's no supplement that they're getting. It's just a one way. Like, you know, December I went to the Cotton Fest. Yeah. And while I was there in that festival, they were all sounding the same.
Yeah. But I think the thing about this ebb and flow, it's happened before, you know. And so now I see it almost heading back to a situation where people are tired of where it is. But you almost need like a like people that like exactly what he's saying. Kids are coming to him, and if you don't have that in the community, then you have the same thing repeating itself, because nobody's there to set it straight or to say here's an alternative. You know, I mean, even like the guys from back in the day as well. Like we didn't know. Like when you first heard some of the stuff, Run DMC was speaking about Harriet Tubman, and the song that I'm proud to be black, yo, that's a fact. I was like, oh, wait a minute. So like it forced us to go and do the research. You get what I'm saying? So I think that for me is the other side of what hip hop does. Yeah. But if there's nobody to supply the information, then they're like, the song doesn't reach the intention. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I feel like it's at that point now where a lot of people in like PE, what's his name, J-Bucks and those guys are all saying the same thing. Like kids are looking for information. Like we're at that point. And if we don't step in and try and supply the information, and also look at, like this game is being played on so many levels. You know, and like so the old thinking that we had of like being hard and like we need to try and engage these kids on different playing fields. Yeah. And be like innovative about the way that we engage. Or we will lose them and we'll end up with them being used and beaten. You know what I'm saying?
It's true what you're saying, because the two brothers we in that program with them, the crew, and when I met them in the program, it made sense for me to bring dancers. I was like, brother Emile, before first of all was people. So that presence of having people, break dancing, popping, or they're doing camping, that comes from a place. So we just need to know all the time zone of the time of it and allow them to do it. They on it because I say to my age group most times like, those young people organizing them, I want to be part of the person, but they do not understand where they are. I don't want them to go through the same thing we went through for years. Even here in Khayelitsha, there's not even a radio station that plays rap music, or we have 2 community radio stations. Readers Wanele. If they play rap music, they would focus on the vernacular tongue. So they are dividing on certain people now who have these platforms. Instead of embracing both of the languages, they say, I want to focus on this part. And now we're fighting amongst ourselves because another thing I always say to the brothers, we can't not run away from the part. The black kids that picked up rap music, it was those kids who went to the inner city. It was the language of English, it wasn't foreign for them. So right now it's a great thing that in the township there are people rapping in that vernacular tongue. So why can't we balance?
Yeah, and the thing is like it's like any language has validity. You know, like I used to think. I mean, like most people in South Africa, we all think that Afrikaans is the border language,
Yes.
which is bullshit. They stole it from the people in the Cape, right? Like words in the language expose its heritage. Like words like Khocha, Kriki, and Kwacha, Dacha, and Aitsa, all Bushman words it's like a Creole language. Right? And then in there is also like Piran and Blachang, which are Indonesian words. So the people in the Cape were from all of those places. Right? And so that's caught in the language, created, and then the Boers needed to create a people. So they faked it, because the first Afrikaner was a person from the Cape, Afrikaner, and Jan Jonker, Afrikaner. So it's two people of color from the Cape that was named Afrikaner, which meant that you were birthed here, right? And so the language is also something that is not theirs, that was stolen. So their identity is a fake identity, you know, and we don't realize this. And so I went to his school and we did the production, I was like, fuck, I had no idea, because I used to, the same like everybody else, like, yeah, it's Boerentaal, we speak the base Afrikaans, you know. In the meantime, that was the origin of the language, was what they speak on the Cape Flats, right? And so he was in Matrica, we did a production called Afrikaans at Baxter. So I learned all this over there. I was like, fuck, almost missing the point completely about this language and about their illusion of who they are, right? Because if they were Dutch, they'd speak Dutch, right? Like why would they speak this other language? And so this language actually birthed in Cape Town and have all of this heritage, origins, and connection between the people that are, and people who are Xhosa, the clique, and the connection between the heritage within the Xhosa community and the First Nation Bushman people is the same people that are who are on the Cape Flats, who speak Afrikaans but have Khocha and Kriki and Kwacha and Dacha and say stuff like and Now is actually a word. Means yes and means no. And like everywhere on the Cape Flats we make that sound, but we have no idea of its origin. So in Khoikhoi is actually yes. So I'm like, yo, that just like blew my mind, you know? And so for me it's like extremely divisive historically, because a whole group of people believe that they are speaking a language that's not theirs. And they switch. Because when you listen to the ones on the Cape Flats, they're like, how we but when they go to school, they speak E. They speak a word of, so even though 76 happened, the kids on the Cape Flats are still speaking a foreign language. They're writing exam in a foreign, they don't speak that at all. You get what I'm saying? Everybody assumes that they speak the same, but it's not the same language. It's completely different. I'm saying all this because in the search for getting that community to a sense of, like the so-called colored community, to a sense of self-worth, we, from Black Boys' side, we were pushing black consciousness, right? And kids were like, what do you mean? You black, you suddenly black. Like people who don't see me as black, because I still have to fill in the form. Because the government asked that shit, right? So not that it's like, okay, I can say I'm black, everyone like that, you know. So it's reinforcement of apartheid, actually. The black master, strategic out of the crowds, the cakes we eat and all the same people. So anyway, so but then I didn't making a black notes about the history of that for. So when I started writing the book, I was trying to show you historically how hip hop was connected to us. Because most people don't, they're like, yeah, that's from America. And the first thing that all people do when they study, when I look at it, what they was like, so what do we do? What do we form? We do dance, form a circle. And all people form a circle. And what do? We clap, play the rhythm. And then we make sound, but it's not just any sound. That's the loop, right? And then the reason for the is that it drives people to healing. So if you think of, and then now doing research, I found like one of the creators of hip hop, Cooler said, when I was playing this break, on two vinyls, like he mixed it together so he could extend the loop, and when reality. So he was playing a break, right? This piece of music was called a break. And so when he said that, I was like, oh, here historically people going into a state of trance. And you almost compare a break dancer to someone that's in a state of trance, right? And then when you think about the storyteller is the MC, also present in the circle, speaking about the day's hunt, speaking about, you know, telling stories that was passed on from generation to generation, right? And then they say the hilo, the klicha, would go and write like what was presented in that circle onto the rock, into the rock. Graffiti, like here's the rock. Right? So breakdance, the MC, the spoken thing, the circle is present, the DJ, the circle, the hand clap and the cyclic sound that is. So all of those elements are actually present in like First Nation expression. So and when I wrote this down, like I gave it to 3 professors at Stanford and at Sacramento and University of California, and they dissected what I wrote because I wanted to be placed in a place where people could actually have this conversation. You know what I mean? And once I did it, and the reason I did it also because b-boying next year is going to be at the Olympics.
Yeah,
But it's also for extraction. So I want, because you really have kids from Russia and wherever breaking, but they're breaking without this knowledge. And if they reach out online, they could find this information that will like, oh, Africans created this. So the perception of us, like in order for Black lives to matter, they need to know about us like we know about them. Like we go to school and we learn their shit at our school. We don't learn our own stuff in Africa. So to change, for me to have in their mind as much value as I have because of reading their stuff, there needs to be a balance in the information, right? In order for true equality to exist, for Black lives to really matter, they need to understand our heritage and what we contributed to civilization. And that's what I was saying early on, is how do you make this information available? You get what I'm saying? And how do you participate with people in universities and not only share this information but insist that it has value? Because they will come like you guys were saying and like take your data and like use it for themselves. How do you demand is like if someone comes from, give you an example, like someone comes from a teacher and they spend a year just moving around taking pictures. They write a book, they get their doctorate. What does Kailicha get? You know what I mean? Shouldn't there needs to be some sort of what do they call it? There needs to be some sort of they call it reciprocity, right? Where they need to give back. You know. But the thing is, we don't demand it. So we find these books on the shelves. We're like, oh my God, there's pictures of Kailicha. Oh, this is amazing. Look at these shots. And these brothers are taking pictures. Why they could have taken the pictures? Do you know what I mean? So when they come and they say, I'm doing a story about that, you can hire some of our photographers and then speak to the people and how much of this book comes back to Kandich. You get what I'm saying? So that for too long, Africa's been just giving. And like Europe exists because of Africa's contributions, like literally, you know, and even people. If you look at the slave trade in America, America's entire, Ireland is the only president in the United States who ever is Trump. As fucked up as he is, he's the only president who ever said they exist because of black people's contributions.
Wow.
And so like, and people who come there need to know that. Like the amount of money they have, imagine you work for free, for 400 years for free. There's no, like your labor is for free. People are making full profit from selling cotton or whatever because you're working for free. So that's what Black America did. So the value of the rand is directly proportionate to the black people's enslavement, you know. So anyway, so I decided to put it in the form of a book, but all you know what I'm saying?
People, creatives in this space. However, the way that you represent yourself, it might cause a cancel. It might cause that. You need to have a way to represent yourself.
I mean, that's true.
There are parents like me, and more than like me, you know. There are parents that are very straight. I'm not that straight, but I'm straight. There are more. And they will literally say, I am punishing you, son. I am punishing you, daughter. You won't have such things. Because apparently, this is the way that we do. You understand? Now, we need to have a way, because we know that we're living in this crazy generation, beautiful one. You know? So, I am very interested in this culture and want to learn. However, put it in the right way. Present it. Your costume. I'm not judging your costume right now. But in future, be presentable. So that it is a problem, you know. Be presentable so that bana izongena lento komnye umuntu.
Someone has to break the ice.
Okay.
The same way that you explain, you know, like the immediate reaction that parents will have is specific, even to my age. You know, that's the nature of how conservative people are. Right? In our society, our society is extremely conservative. And so it took a while for parents, and also when they hear me speak, they're like, oh, okay, I get what he's trying to do, I can understand what he's saying. But I also engaged in a way that because I know that most people don't know what hip hop is about. You know, I don't just come like, this is hip hop, this is what it is. Because then people are like, wait a minute. You know, so, and what is our intention? Our intention, we know that this culture has healing power, has the ability to change our community.
Of which I don't know that.
And the problem is that the practitioners of the culture need to bring that about. Like they need to make sure, like when you come into a
Space.
What is the protocol, especially in South Africa? You know, like that's why people use terminology in South Africa, all protocol observed, because of the respect that you need to come with. And so if hip hop doesn't come with that same respect, like, and also proof. Like what proof do we have that we put in the work over the years, like that it actually does happen? You know, the BBC radio was in the office, they asking me, so give me an example of like the work that you've done and who it's influenced. And he said, I forgot this. He said into the middle and he's like, yeah, I've been with Emile for 19 years.
It's been that long.
You know, and so when they came, they were little kids coming to breakdance at the session. You know, and the first time they probably came to Kailicha was with me. You know, with
Provo.
Malawiwe.
Yeah,
Well,
Malawi.
session that they had, yeah. And so, and then when I brought them here, they were like, yo, Emile, where are we going now? You know, because they, you know, again, conservative, nervous, believe what the media say about Kailicha. When I took Malawiwe's kids to
Nature's Place.
explain the same thing, they were like, oh, you're gonna lock the doors because of what the media said about the gang thing in Nature's Place. You know, so we all have these little boxes. So again, but what I'm saying about the proof, like we need to make sure that the proof of the work is present. You know, that you have, like you can tell someone, this is the work, this is the amount of time, this is the, these are examples, like LED is an example, Shaheen, the province of the city. You know, I was going to say AKA, but like, he's
Even
gone,
him.
you know what I mean? But like that, for a lot of us in Cape Town, like to make it in that environment that he was in, takes a hell of a lot to have been able to, because you have to play a game. You know, I know that his rhyme skills was on a different level, but he had to change it for industry to survive, to pay the bills, right? To say make songs that danceable, so that, you know what I mean, how industry works. So it's almost like using that example as well. Like hip hop has to adapt to the situation they find themselves in, you know, and understand the situation. You know, if you're in Parliament speaking to somebody, you have to have your facts together. And I've really had with Hilda Wood, have that opportunity to present to people, and they recognize the work that the organization has done. The fact that we're in, 13 schools at the moment, right? So we teach in those schools, they go in, they teach, but we have a syllabus. Like we start out with who am I? So the kids do, you know, they draw, but in the drawing, there's all these like symbols of you, you know, who made you who you are, where did you come from, historical. And then the kids go home and they ask their parents, like, you know, what do you know about our past? You know, and then the next lesson is where am I? And we put the map of the world up and we tell them the map is wrong. They're like, what? The teachers don't even know that the map is wrong. Africa is much bigger than it's shown on the world map. You know, Africa and South America. The map is actually a representation of Catholicism and religion, and where's Christianity the biggest. That's really what the map was saying. So when they do that, the teachers are learning, and the teachers are like, damn, these guys are coming with hip hop, but this is the hip hop that's schooling us. You get what I'm saying? So it has this power, and then I actually took this out earlier to show you something. So I'm standing with my kid. I waited a long time to have kids. I'm standing with my kid in my arms, and I'm about to sing like Ashabai Baby, right? Because that's what we know. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't sing like this colonial crap to my kid, and then I'm supposed to be someone that wants to change society and my children. So I make up my own lullabies to sing.
Beautiful.
And now my kids, like at night when I put them to sleep, they like, you know, like a top 20, they're like, can I have this track? You know? But I know that one day they'll sing those songs to their children. You get what I'm saying? I broke the cycle. I broke it. And each parent, each African has that same power to do the same thing. You know, so from birth, we could change like the stories. And like this, these are stories that I created myself. Right? And so put it together in little booklets and like have them read the stories. And
So
it's
these
not
are
the-
reading stories.
Sorry?
These are reading stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so these are like the one is like Mighty Turtles, guys. These are stories I made up. But this is my daughter. This one I specifically did because I want her to not feel that she has to bow down. So this is like the lioness, like the real, like the king of the jungle. Because they go hunt, they do all the work. The guy is just like, yo, we have that food, right? And I wrote it in that way to challenge what she's watching on like Disney, the one story, right? So again, like we have power to change the narrative, but are we? You know, what I mean?
Big one.
That's the question. Are we?
And this again, I told you earlier, like this is 1993, this is the first hip hop magazine in the country. Like, it wouldn't look like this, my brother sitting over there. All of this is him, like all of these books that I put out is like you ask Harvey to put the book, yeah, you should ask him that question, because he's I just write this stuff and then he puts it together, so he does like the layouts, right?
Wow.
He's busy working on a book at the moment as well.
He's a submarine.
Eh?
He's a submarine.
He's like,
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like it didn't start like this. Like it started with me just photocopying articles, you know, and then
Okay.
with time,
Just like what you guys.
yeah, you know, so you build up on it with time, like it becomes a full, full color version of like. And the same thing is like you documenting the guys taking pictures.
Yes.
You documenting history taking place, right? And so when I look back at these magazines, it's like, you know, months frozen in time periods frozen in history of us, like the work that we're doing. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, so this is a book that they gave me a job of being an artist in residence at UCLA.
Okay.
So tonight again we get together and we dissect the book, right? But this author will be on. But this book is about. It's funny because it's almost the same thing as what I wrote. Like she's speaking about the Africanist aesthetic of hip hop culture, of dance.
Okay.
Like she was able to see that, like this circle looks familiar. Like why is this so familiar? But obviously she's using like heavy academic terminology. I was like, when I was reading, I was like, yo, sister. You know, but it's written specifically for university students and stuff like that. You know, so there are like hip hop education in the global context is massive at universities because it's the only culture that's challenged the education's ability to actually. What hip hop has done is like drawn to education, we're drawn to content that is almost liberating them. So hip hop speaks about, let me give you an example of like the Nation of Islam in the US will speak about African presidents or African like Patrice Lumumba and those people in the rappers that are part of Nation of Islam. Then we in Africa were like, yo, wait, we're not getting this here. This is during apartheid. We're like, wait, we don't find this here. You know? So it made people who were normally not interested in education look for these books, for this information.
That's me.
You know? And all over even in the US, a friend of mine, Polsky, he dyslexic character, guy, he has files at his house of like research that he did because he wanted to learn, because the hip hop made him want to learn all this information. He reached out to me in South Africa via letter. This is before internet. Like he wrote a letter to
this guy, there's nothing wrong with them actually, you know, because they brand you, they box you, put you in a box there, and that's it with you. You're the other kid, you know. But through hip hop, he found himself and introduced himself to us, you know, and now he's a different person. You understand? So that's I'm appreciating the space and I'm appreciating your work. And I'm hoping that what you said, Sissy, that it's going to follow through. So we bring them in and they get to see these faceless voices and not run away from them in the streets. You know, we have Umzegezege, Nazi.
I think the what's also like what you were saying, brother, is extremely important. Like that people take you for the spirit that you are, not how you know. I mean, this. I was telling my mom this other day. I saw this kid on the beach, and the mom had no arms. Right? But the kid is playing in the water, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, like this kid. And then the kid turned around and saw me, and the kid pointed at my head, and I was like, shit. like I look different.
Yeah.
It's his mother, right? She
Yeah.
doesn't look different at all.
Yeah.
So it's again like this, like the lens we're looking through. You get what I'm saying? Like how stereotypes within our minds force us to look at other. Like, if kids from the like we wrote the song, what's that their number somewhere? Vogel of oors meer, like oors is meer as wat jy dink ons is. We are more than what you think we are. Because when we walk in the stores in the city, then they follow us around the shop. Like we don't have money to
Can
buy.
we help you?
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's the ironically in America it's the same thing. Like people, you know, it's black folk get like that's the same reaction.
Unnecessary attention.
So it's like it's prejudging, but the funny part is the judging is based on their media of us. Like they tell those stories about us, you know. And then the other thing is that there's no empathy from them. Like we cry for their movies, we cry for them in the stories that we like the animations of Snow White and the whatever, Sting and Sing and all this animation, right? There's all white people that we cry for. They never cry for black people. There's no empathy for us. Do you understand what I mean? Because we don't get the opportunity to tell our story. And whenever there's a story from the Cape Flats, there's like some gang shit.
Yeah.
People are killed.
Corners or something.
Bruh, there's nothing. This
Nothing
is the one that's supposed to be
positive.
positive.
You know what I mean? So it's like how do you and that's why again like this book, like when they spoke crap about hip hop, I created this. So if they're telling this one story, here's a theater. Why? I mean, I assume that you can record video on that, right? So why aren't we creating movies here that can play there?
Yeah.
Because we have the power right now to change it. Like now with technology is so accessible.
Yeah.
You know, if in one day if the whole Cape Flats, if someone says I'm from Kailicha and I'm a positive good person, and everyone upload that onto YouTube or Facebook. Next time they go onto YouTube to search Kailicha, they'll find 10,000 people who put up a video, I'm from Kailicha and I'm a good person. Yeah, versus like the other crap, right? I mean, we could change it, but instead we're like doing TikTok and and like dancing and doing challenges.
Like nothing's wrong. Nothing is happening around us.
Yeah, I understand what you know. We have this organization, I'm sure that you know, because it's starting to do that. We want to like document people who make change. Because people who make like positive things, their story never really told.
Yeah.
Because the media is like saying, nah, that's going to change your mind and say, that's why you say you're strict or you don't because in India, if again, abantu banjengathi bayabajika bangababad. So the one consider hip hop, you'll be like, okay, hip hop, drugs, guns, money. Yeah, it's not that. No, hip hop is never that.
Really?
It's never that.
It's a minority, like every community. The clever thing about them is to make to paint everyone with the same brush. The one story. There's a woman online that speaks about the one story. Like she says that.
Say one story.
The one story. They always when it comes to black folk around the world, they always tell one story and they continuously tell the one story. Because
Why?
Shima Amanda.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's clever how it's being used everywhere to create one idea of black folk. Yeah. And it's purposely done because they know they can benefit by doing that. You know. And so the thing is like how do you expand the one story? Like that's the innovation of it. Like how do we ourselves expand that one story? You know. And everyone that's here has their own story. So, and the power of of our stories collectively is that it has the ability to change our perception of ourselves. Like exactly like you said, like nobody was telling the good stories. I went and like I created this page, and so initially it was on Facebook. Initially it was like I couldn't even think of what to call it? Like so-called colored mixed heritage appreciation page was like just such a Musa name, 1,000 points in Scrabble. So I was like, and people kept saying but people like focusing on the problem. They were like, yeah, why are you colored? Why are you? I was like, yo, just look at what I'm doing. And every day for 350 something days, I put up a new person's name. And like I learned so much. Do you know that when Steve Biko was taken, his friend is actually Peter Jones.
Okay.
Colored dude, right? Just recently passed away. And like the struggle back then was all of us. But because they only selectively told the story as if he was on his own, people forgot. And he actually went to go meet Dr. Neville Alexander, right? He was running an organization and they were trying to unite. And this happened on the same day that he was taken, right? He was locked up. So it's like, and then we created, found someone to do illustration. And so we are sitting with at least about 31 stories of people that most people like don't know about, and intend to put those stories out
there.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's a problem. We need to find a solution ourselves. Nobody's coming to solve this problem. We need to do it ourselves.
Jesus, the white one. White one is not coming.
Okay, my sister.
They don't want people to hear what we try to show people.
Yeah.
Because I used to have, back in the day, in my community, I saw like kids like doing drugs. They don't have nothing to do when they came back to school. They sit in corners and I was like, nah, I don't like this for my life. I want to do something positive. So I reached out to Love Life. There was a Love Life center in my street. So I was like, I'm a dancer. So can I just have like some time, some hours in your space? Because some programs they don't do, they just sit around and they do their job. So I was like, okay, I'll bring kids for you guys. And also we can teach them. When you don't teach them, I have the class of them. They're gonna have learn how to dance, how to like view themselves like confident.
Yeah.
Like it didn't like last a while because their parents came and said, yeah, you're teaching my kids drugs and stuff because you're doing hip hop.
That's me.
That's hip hop. I don't like my kid going to.
But not me anymore.
I'd love to commit myself. The librarian said something very important. How do we keep on the space alive? I'd love to.
All of the kids were
Yes. I'd love us to.
Was that good?
Every kid.
I'm actually committing myself to culture. In this space, there's books at my house I've been getting from that book. Whenever I go through the juice books, I actually dive in because those images I was there in other spaces. So that battle reminds me. So I would commit myself, bring my DVDs that I have to play here, where we could do screenings. There's a projector. We could organize a space where it could be workshops. We could start basics where that information share with each other here, and it would be nice actually that information to be put in our language. That's one thing that I've been struggling for all these years, transforming hip-hop information, break it down as Xhosa to our people, because we have created even a street language with Xhosa. Not to push Abantu far from us, because one thing that I learned the other years, it was we have this accent of this English, and other people, it pushes them away.
Yeah.
So we still look very foreign, say hip hop, because we haven't found a way to communicate with Abantu Beach. Yes, through the rhythm and poetry that we're writing, we are communicating when they're listening to us, but how do we start engaging spaces? You know, when we came up as Isivivana, we knew that actually it was not going to be easy to get the venue, but we had to break that shell of that egg, yabo? So here is a librarian who has an interest, would love to work with us, where it means we could organize ourselves. Even another thing, my brother, the thing we are part and parcel of. We were asking ourselves, how do we, those collectives already, how do we get together without not someone bringing us for the fact of money? We're not saying we're not looking for money. We are looking for money, but the most important thing in the beginning, how do we organize ourselves? Because right now, if you go online, you don't even find a hip-hop forum.
Yeah.
You know, so we are still foreign in our own community. So our idea, Single Culture is to capture this information and to take it back there. So I'm pleading the writers, where we have just had a conversation with them where we said we were going to collect music from your guys that you're recording or poems that you're writing, where we could use them as reference booklets, where I know if you go to the Central Library in town, you could actually pick up a reference book talking about the history of hip-hop in Cape Town. That's put in by a librarian who's not a hip-hop activist, but she saw a need and she bridged that gap. So I'm committing myself to say, before we come out of here, I don't mind coming up on Fridays. I don't mind at home my woman to scale at me, to say, hey, you didn't work today, you went to that hip-hop thing of yours.
I'm laughing because one of the other guys, he couldn't come along because of that.
That's why I've been getting the phone calls. That's why I'm getting the phone calls. I've been asked, where are you? Who's supposed to pick up that child at the daycare center, you know? Yeah. So all those things I'm aware of, and I wouldn't love us to repeat it, especially here in Cape Town. We have about 30 years, it's 40 years we are in hip-hop, and still there are less things that are written about us. I get mad when I watch South African hip-hop documentaries. I already know I'm going to see POC, I'm going to see Emile, and then they're going to go to Retex and Trimaskap, then the whole story goes to Johannesburg.
Yeah.
So we just a drop in the ocean, but we are the history.
At the beginning, and then it's the rest is Johannesburg.
So honestly,
But again, it's because we're not taking charge of what's going on. Like if you do that,
bystanders.
Yeah, then like I think the other thing that and I shouldn't speak for him, he should speak for himself. But like I'm between here and Atlanta, the US.
Yes.
My wife and kids are there, right? And so I'm living between worlds. Like I come back every couple of months.
And then you're
but my thing is that the scene here will only really expand, and I'm not just here, but like even in Johannesburg. There is no developmental part in Johannesburg. There is no, we would like for there to be people in schools that are sharing this information to heal, in whatever language and use whatever, like we're using the connection between the slave heritage and the Bushman heritage, because that's what a lot of the kids come from. But that conversation on the Cape Flats is also getting the kids who from this community to also be like, oh shit, there's a whole other history that we didn't know. And we're actually more similar than different. Right? And then they're writing rhymes together, so the intention is that you create this army from the ground up to change things, And as they get, these guys are that. Like now they teach. So I want, what they do, pass on to the next one of the kids, and those kids can teach the next one. And at some point, they were funded by a Swedish organization, the Workers' Union of Sweden. I think they connect the Workers' Organization. Yeah. So my feeling is at some point, the European Union and money in Europe is starting to, they're starting to less fund what's happening in Africa. And we need to anticipate that. So that our community could, we often say we don't have. But if we don't have, then why will, is that a Fanta sign in the background there? Why will these big multinational companies be in Kalichi? We do have. We just haven't figured out how to get to support ourselves versus supporting them. I mean, Kalichi is doing much better because I saw these owners selling their coffee or their own tea. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what's necessary on all levels. so like we're trying to find ways for the project to become self-sustaining, and we're trying to find like people that have money in the US that are black folk as well. You know, these basketball players and rappers, and like, you know, try and find a way that they can, because a lot of them are tired of being in the US. A lot of them are like getting out, they want to leave because of the racism isn't changing, you know. And that's why you heard Kanye say stuff like he wants to come back in South Africa. Because a lot of them are seriously talking because they realize what's going on, you know. And so like we're looking to find ways to like find individual, like what you were saying, and he's also busy working, trying to work in his career. So you can find ways that people's basic economics are paid. They can be in a school, use the syllabus that we created, and tweak it, because obviously you want to localize it every year. Use the basic outline and then change it obviously language-wise, and also like what the content that you want to share that's you know, historically held to your community. And I feel like that, like instead of like we're saying that there's no equal options force, like this is actually for me, like I'm a qualified school teacher, and I qualified in the part, and I was like, there's no, I'm 55 this year, right? And there's no way I'm teaching this crap to children. And that's why I left. I was like, I'm out of peace. I'm not teaching this crap to the kids, right? But then hip hop was what made me realize like there's something, there's all this power we have if we are able to get beyond our, like we all traumatized people. So I was just saying that we went to a Rasta gathering and the Rastas look so angry. I thought we'd make you happy, but like they look really pissed off. And I was like, why are you so angry? You know, amongst each other. Yes, you're angry at the system, but it's, even though that people...
And that's it. That's a wrap, people. That's a wrap, people.
Call it a day.
Call it a day.
Also, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.
With my mother, I know that I'm different. But fuck it, I know that I'm gifted. Big FB, I don't even have feelings. Y'all fake, y'all bitch no different. Like she a freak, I'm a beat up a box. Been through it, you know that I rock. If I pull up heavy, he bringing a knock. On bro, you know how to fly.